Hello, Bolly viewers! Saya kembali lagi. Hari ini mawawancara salah satu pemain The Fabulous Lives of Bollywood Wives. Kan ada 4 perempuan yang pemain. Jadi kita tuh mau wawancara mereka satu-satu. And kayaknya minggu depan juga ada. Setelah itu juga ada. So stay tuned. Hari ini agak mendung, gak enak hawanya, agak dingin, tapi kita bakal angetin Anda dengan wawancara saya, okay? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Aruna Harjani live from Jakarta, Indonesia. And we're so happy to be back again here with one of the performers of the series of Bollywood, Fabulous Lives of the Bollywood Wives. Sorry, I'm stammering, a bit nervous. Okay, so get ready. And before I start the show, I'd like to give my word of thanks. Thank you to Tiara Mirchandani for the flyer. She's always been making the flyers for me. And even if it's just last minute, you know, she's ever ready to make me the most beautiful flyer. And secondly, thanks a million to Mahib Kapoor. I don't think I could have done this without her. And thank you, Mahib. And now I'd like to call our guest today. She's the mother of Ananya Pandey, as you all know. She's a well-known celebrity as well. And the wife of Chunky Pandey. Ladies and gentlemen, may I call now Bhavana Pandey? Yay! Coming.
Hi.
Hi, how are
Can you see me
you?
clearly?
Yes. Hope your Wi-Fi is okay in that area.
So far so good. Fingers crossed.
We all have that problem here. So
I
I
mean,
think,
working
sorry?
pretty far. It's working pretty good so far. So I don't think it should be a problem.
Okay. Bhavna, just move your phone down a bit because your face is a little cut. Yeah. Yeah. Just up a bit more. Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. You must be so busy now, especially after the series, your 9 episodes. And, you know, you must be more busy now having, you know, you must have, you're continuing. I mean, you're a fashion designer. So
I mean, you know what? Honestly, I mean, the show has been great. It's, it's got a lot of love, and we are very happy with the response we've received from the show. But as far as being really busy is concerned, it's not been that busy because, due to COVID and stuff, you can't really do much right now. But yes, there's lots of good stuff happening, and looking forward to this year. I'm sure things will be better health-wise, and for the world it'll be better. So maybe we'll do a lot more now.
okay.
Yeah.
Bhavna, the first questions your fans have been asking me here is $1 million question. How did you meet Chunky?
Oh, is that the question they're really interested in? I'm quite surprised. I was like, now 23 years ago, we just celebrated our 23rd wedding anniversary a few days back. So I would say this was actually 24 and a half, almost 25 years back I met him.
Okay.
I was in my final year of my college. I went to Sri Ram College of Commerce in Delhi. So I was in the final year of my college, and we had our exams going on, and I was at a friend's house, and we were studying till late. And like all naughty teenagers do, and we also sneaked out of the house and went to a nightclub for a short while called Ghungru in Delhi.
Okay.
And Chunky was there. He was there to judge Miss India in the same hotel. He was there to judge Miss India that year. And he came down to the nightclub. I think there was an after party or something. And he was he missed his flight. He was supposed to fly back to Bombay that night. and he missed his flight, and he had come down to the nightclub as well, and that's where we met the first time around 25 years back. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you're sorry, I didn't get you. You were introduced.
Sorry, no,
You're.
I mean, yeah, we got introduced through a friend of mine who was with me. I mean, she
Mhm.
was around, and she also didn't really know him. She knew him as an actor, and she actually was the two of us, and then obviously he left for Bombay, and I went back home and went back to my finishing my college, and I started flying after that. I flew for Lufthansa for a year and a half, and
Oh.
touch through that time, and we dated for a year and a half, and then married. And I was in Bombay then. Yeah.
So, were you prepared that that you are gonna be marrying somebody who's a celebrity, and did you have any concern about that? That you're marrying a Bollywood celebrity, and there were adjustments to make, and how did you cope up with that?
You know, when I was like 21 when I met, and at 21, you know, you're so young and you're not thinking so much. I mean, it was more like, you know, a person who was great fun to be with. He had an absolutely, I mean, still has an absolutely amazing sense of humor. And you know what, it was more like courtship, and it was also like a long distance thing, because I was flying, I lived in Delhi, and I was flying all over the world with Lufthansa, and he lived in Bombay, and he was acting and stuff. So it was more like, you know, a long distance kind of, you can say, like a deep friendship. And we used to, whenever we could meet, we used to hang out and have a great time. So the thought of marriage had not really come up. And also, I remember when I had met him in the first few meetings, only he had told me that he never ever wants to get married. That's what he had told me. So that was, I mean, he's 12 years older than me. So when I was 21, he was 33, and he was a bachelor. And he was like, you know, I intend to remain a bachelor, and I don't want to get married. And my brother's daughter is my daughter. I don't want to have children. So these are the kind of conversations we had.
Uh-huh.
So no expectation of getting married. But I think what happened is we got really close during that 1 year. And I think he started me a lot. And I was obviously not going to give up my life and move to Bombay unless we were married. And it somehow came along, it happened along the way. It was like we were just going with the flow, and it happened organically and naturally. There were no thoughts given, there were no plans made. It just happened over a period of time. Yeah.
So finally, when you got married, was there a lot of adjustments to be, did you have to adjust a lot? Because I'm sure his lifestyle was definitely way different from what you had.
No, absolutely. It was like a 180 degrees. So I come from a family of hardcore professionals. Both my father and mother have always worked in their life, and I mean, all their life been in the service industry. My dad was with Philips India, and my mother was with IBM. And yeah, and I mean, they were like, you know, hoping, and especially my father, he wanted me to finish my college, and I was a brilliant student, and he wanted me to, you know, be a chartered accountant. I actually applied to Arthur Anderson. So my life was going to go in a very different way. And in fact, when I broke the news to my father, my mother really supported me in the relationship. But when I broke the news to my father, he was like, absolutely not. And, you know, you can't get married in a filmy background. And he had not even, he was not so much into movies or reading magazines. But somehow he was like, no, they all have so many affairs, and they're Casanovas and this and that. So I was like, no, dad, it's not like that. Meet him. He also comes from a family of doctors. His parents are highly educated and very respected in their field. So there was a lot of convincing that went for my father. But
Okay.
my mother was quite supportive throughout. And but when he met Chunky, and I think Chunky just charmed his way through his heart. And now, I mean, I think he's more of a son to him than I'm a daughter to him. So all's well.
That's nice. So, so did is you were able to adapt to his lifestyle? I mean, I'm sure there must have been a lot of glamour and all that. How did you cope up with that?
You know,
Or you
it
were?
was It was a huge change because but you know, the 1.5 years that we dated, I got to meet a lot of his friends. I got to meet his family, and also, you know, when I feel when you're very young, you kind of mold and you kind of adjust easily into things. Also, his parents were amazing. You know, they were extremely supportive, and it was like quite like a normal family life, like I had back home in Delhi. You know, with him in his house. But yes, of course, professionally, it's a little tough. It's difficult to adjust. But also, when I got married to Chunky, he was also at a very different stage in his career. He was not working that much. He did not have that many films on hand. He was not very busy. So we got a lot of time together. Also, he was doing a lot of work in Bangladesh at that time. So I went a couple of times there with him. And then finally I was like, listen, I can't do it. You better come back to Bombay and start working here. I need you here in Bombay. And eventually he did that. I think we got to spend a lot of time together in those years, so which was nice. He was not overly busy, and Chunky is a very secure person, and he made me feel extremely secure. So which was nice. That is something that worked out. But of course, like every marriage, my first year was like full of disagreements and fights. I think I must have packed my suitcase 100 times and said I'm going back to Delhi, and then unpacked the next morning.
Okay, you know, you mentioned in one of your interviews, I think it was with Hindustan Times, about the insecurity of Chunky regarding his career. How were you able to, you know, how did you face that? You know, how did you face his insecurities? How did you deal with it? You know,
So,
as a
so
wife, as a Bollywood wife.
So see, like I mentioned that when we got married, Chunky was kind of at a very low phase of his career,
Mm.
and but he never brought that back home ever. You know, he was like always excited about doing other things. He was always hopeful about doing other things. He started a company that started doing events, because if he was not getting too much work as an actor, he started doing events and stuff. Ventured into other things. We opened a health food restaurant together, and so there were a lot of, so he did not bring those kind of insecurities back home, which was like a huge help for me. And uh, and I didn't feel so much. And honestly, after marriage and after we had Ananya, his career kind of started going back up. He was okay with doing character roles. He was okay with taking different kind of work and not mainstream hero role. So that kind of work started coming up. I think it was like a pretty much a smooth transition, because after we got married, he actually started going on his way up. So we did not really face, any, like, I did not meet him when he was on his highest, phase of his career, when he was like, I did not meet him at then and that suddenly there was a dip or something. That didn't happen. When I met him, he was anyway not doing so well, and he started doing well after we got married again. But he's a very positive person. He always found other things to do. So, we didn't really feel the pressure at home ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how about with the other, you know, when you go to parties and all, was there any effect on you? I mean, you're meeting other people who are more successful, who are more like, you know, out there. And how did you feel about that?
You know what? There was a lot of, see, because as I said again, that, when I got married to him, I was very young, and I also married without any expectations as such, because it was not like, I am this superstar's wife. It was not that, because he was not a superstar at that time. It was like, I have gotten into it with my eyes open and with the situation that is already around. So it's not like suddenly there's a shock or suddenly there's a surprise. Our life is pretty much similar. Yes, of course, as human beings, you want, you look at others and you aspire better. But there was such, also, I met, including Mahib, Seema, and Neelam, I met such wonderful people at the beginning of my married life, that it was all good. We were all together in this, and then of course the parties and all you go to initially. So I was like a fan myself of most of these people, I was like super excited with all of them. So later, of course, they all became my friends. And no, so not so much. You don't think so much when you're so young because you've not planned so much in life. I think these things come later, with experience and with those kind of things. Yeah, but no, not so much. Yes, sometimes as human beings, you do feel like, aspire to do better, but not like feeling low or going down with that. No.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, then you were having your restaurants, your health restaurants. And how did that shift to being a fashion designer, right?
Yeah. I'm
Because
not a
I
designer
then
myself, but
uh-huh.
I have a brand called LoveGen, which is a high street brand, which
Okay.
with two of my girlfriends, Nandita and Nandita Mehtani and Dolly Sidwani, we started it like 4 years back. So
Okay.
basically, I was in college, then I started flying. So I've always been very busy in life. And when I got married to Chandi, suddenly I had nothing to do, and I mean, I did get pregnant in the first year of my marriage and had Ananya, my daughter, my firstborn, but still I needed to do more. So I dabbled in modeling. I did a little bit of VJing. I did whatever I could get my hands on in the beginning. I remember I'd gone to Los Angeles when I was pregnant with Ananya. This is 1998. And I saw these health food restaurants over there, where there were calories were counted and, things like that. I found the whole concept very interesting. And I told Chunky, I want to open something like this in Mumbai because there is nothing like that. And we have the film industry and the fashion industry in Mumbai who would want to follow calorie conscious stuff. So we came back and Chunky had this property lying in Bandra only, which was empty, So I lucked out with that. And we found partners and we opened our first restaurant called Trim with Taste, which was a health food restaurant where all the calories of the food and everything was counted. But the restaurant didn't do well. It failed miserably because I think it was too ahead of its time. Like
Yeah.
people at that time, 22, 23 years ago, did not feel the need to go out and eat healthy food because for, people, it was like if you go out to enjoy. You don't go out to eat healthy food. So we had
Correct.
very few clients. I remember we used to have a few actors who would order from there. I remember Karishma used to order a lot from there. I remember Karishma, Karina, Kajol, but it was never like a lot of people coming to the restaurant and eating.
Correct.
So it failed miserably. So then I have gone 360 and opened a restaurant called Just Parathas there because I was like, health food is not working. I've gone fully reverse and done parathas.
Uh,
Not satisfactory, not enough. Then we opened a chocolate lounge there. So, I mean, I think with the restaurant business, I wasn't working completely. There was something amiss. Then I got into events. I started organizing events because I had to do stuff and I had to keep myself busy. So I did a lot of events organizing. I did launches of many luxury brands like Cartier, Dior, Burberry, Louis Vuitton, all in India. I did all these events. And so I got, what do you say? I got into fashion a lot because of that. And then these friends of mine, Dolly and Nandi, we were, chatting and we used to meet and we used to think that there's a high street brand which is affordable, which is like all college students and other people can wear it. Something like a Zara that
okay.
is not, yeah, is not
Okay.
there.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear? I can't hear you. I can't hear. What happened there? Laila, can you check? Something's wrong. Huh? Is it mine? I can't hear.
Or maybe you just try cutting it and doing it again.
I'll call you. I'll call you back again. I'll time out, close. I'll call you again. Okay?